Am I the only one to notice that Trump just kind of kept his mouth shut? I thought that was really interesting. And another thing you may have noticed is he didn't have a public announcement of the bill signing, right? He didn't have his big public thing with his lackeys talking about the bill. There was no, they didn't roll out the desk and the fanfare. This was this bill that he really, really wanted. And, everybody in Congress voted for. And yet there was no bill signing ceremony. He signed it. He signed it today. It has been put into law. I hate to pin this all on Elon because it's not simply Elon, but Elon's tweet definitely fucked shit up. I think Elon's tweet caused more damage to MAGA than Trump did, okay? Because they loved Elon. They did. Elon was the money, the sugar daddy, the richest guy out there is on our side. He switched teams. He was the ultimate, used to be a Democrat and came to our side. Elon was like their guy. And then when Elon said, wow, Trump is in there and it's bad, while Trump was like, this is a hoax, dude, that caused so much damage. Dork MAGA. Dude, that's what it is. It is dork MAGA. Dude, I'm sorry, bro. There is something about her face that, it just bothers me. Do you guys experience that? I look at Pam Bondi's face and it just fucking bothers me, bro. It is just so craven. I look at her and she looks like one of those dolls in a horror movie or something that, if I turn my back to the photo, she's going to reach a hand out and stick something in one of my orifices or something, dude. There is something about her that is just craven and devoid of humanity. It's like the shape of her eyes and the way her eyebrows and her face sort of coil to a point. There's something about her that just looks, untrustworthy, right? Smug. There's definitely smugness, but there's a brutality and an emptiness that she has. There's a brutality to her that when I see her that I feel there's 0% a compassion in her. She always wears a cross, but you know how you think about people who wear crosses who would see a homeless person and be like, oh, I want to feed you. Are you okay? Can I help you? Can I keep you warm? Can I go get you a blanket or something? And I look at her that she would see a homeless person and she would have some people drag him and throw him in a wood chipper or something. And then she would position her cross after the guy stopped screaming. That's literally the kind of vibe I get from her that is Jesus, just Jesus Christ, bro. I can see her adjusting her cross while you just hear the horrific screams of a human being being inserted into a wood chipper in the background. Dude, like a Fargo type thing, And it's God damn, bro. That is fucked up, dude. There's a little wrinkle that they're trying to overcome, which is this tiny little wrinkle right here. Okay? And this wrinkle is a statement that was issued back in July of 2025 when the Trump administration officially closed the case. Because for the record, Joe Biden or Merrick Garland, they couldn't release any of the Epstein files because they opened a case against Ghislaine Maxwell. They took it to trial. They won a conviction. They put her in prison. And then she began appealing. So it was an open investigation, a major one. So all of that information was off limits. Donald Trump went in with the promise of releasing it. Then he changed his tune after he found himself in it. And then what happened was in July of 2025, they closed the case. Trump did. they officially declared it a closed case. We're done. We're not investigating this. We're not keeping it open. And they issued a statement that said, we looked through all this shit. We looked at every uncharged third party, and there wasn't enough evidence for an investigation. Case closed. Then the fervor hit, and the wave came, and the demand for this, and the women stepped up, and 𝗙ecie and 𝗏 𝗏 and everything that, all hell broke loose. And now they're sort of regretting, oh shit, what are we going to do? But they're haunted by this little declaration. So now Pam, they're like, why'd they change your heart, Pammy? You get hopped up on Ozempic, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, Trumpy, oh, let's go back in there.
Madam Attorney General, the DOJ statement earlier this year saying that the files would not release mentioned the fact that the review of the documents and the evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted. What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's information that new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads. If there are any victims, we encourage all victims to come forward, and we will continue to provide maximum transparency under the law.
Dude, information in new information. Dude, we got to go back. Watch Cash Patel, though, during that. Watch his face. Like, during this thing, dude, he looks like somebody put a gun in his back right there.
DOJ
Watch
statement earlier this year saying that the files would not release mentioned the fact that the review of the documents and the evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted. What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's information that new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads. If there are any victims, we encourage all victims to come forward, and we will continue to provide maximum transparency under the law.
Wedding,
dude, he's crossing.
wedding. You mentioned, Madam Attorney.
And then he puts his arms down. Dude, oh my God, bro. Dude, that was insane. Oh shit. Dude, yeah, dude, and Todd Blanche over here always looks like he's taking a shit, dude. Dude, Todd Blanche always looks like he's like trying to fucking squeeze. He's been constipated. He hasn't had any fiber in like 11 months, bro. Then he's just like, I'm gonna get it this time, I swear. Right? He's like shitting concrete nuggets. Something. Look at him, dude. He is so focused on the rectal area. Oh, Lord.
Information that has come for information. There's information that new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law, to
information that has come forward. There's new information, additional information. There's never seen before information. I don't know what that information is, but somebody knows about the information. Somebody out there, please. Information. I am a robot. See, here's the problem, though, guys, that they face. And it's a Jamie Raskin letter. And this is going to be a real problem for Pam Bondi because there was an open investigation continuing in SDNY. It was ongoing. Even though Ghislaine Maxwell had been put in prison, there was a continuing investigation that was still following up all this other shit. The problem is that Donald Trump and Pam Bondi, they stopped the investigation. In January of 2025, they stopped investigating. The minute he went into office, they shut it down. And then they went and looked at everything they had for 5 months, and then they closed the case and said there's nobody to prosecute. So there is no new information. This investigation never got reopened. The president was running around saying it was a hoax, that these things didn't even exist. Pam Bondi said There's not even any files. There's not a list. There's nobody. There's just 10,000 videos of Jeffrey Epstein with children. But here's the problem they have is there is evidence, a paper trail of them shutting down the investigation. And there is a paper trail of them closing the case, okay, in July, along with that declaration, that lovely declaration that we look at right here. But you know what there probably isn't a paper trail for, guys? There probably isn't a paper trail for when they reopened this investigation and found all this new additional information. And so Jamie Raskin is saying, yo, guys, you shut down this investigation. Can we go ahead and see where you opened it up? Right? And I'm sure every lawyer on the planet that's involved in this is going to be like, yeah, let's see where you opened this thing up again. And let's see who was working on it. Like show your work, essentially. As you saw with Mike Johnson yesterday, they did indeed think this was going to be passed back, but they do have a little problem on their hands because, Pam Bondi's got a real problem because she has been telling a lot of lies. But so Robert Garcia here is delivering the kill shot. Here's why. Here's why Pam Bondi's shit's not going to work. Because I was wondering, what are they going to do? They're going to tie it up with investigations. But you ready? Here's the thing. Under the law, Pam Bondi and Donald Trump are saying, hey, we've opened an investigation, so they're going to hide shit. And legally, they can't release any of this shit to the public because the law says they can't release anything that hinders an open investigation. But you know what the workaround is? It's congressional subpoena power. Congress can subpoena every file that is currently under investigation. So that is the fucking workaround, is they're going to get access because they can subpoena everything. And Pam Bondi can't say, well, it's under investigation, we can't give it to you. No. If they subpoena it, she has to give it, period. So they're going to go after the photos, guys. We all know that this is about the Michael Wolff photos.
In the law that was passed in the 𝗙𝗏 and 𝗙ecie bill, there is a provision in there that essentially speaks to that the Department of Justice is able to possibly withhold some materials if there is an ongoing federal investigation. This has been discussed at length. And so folks are worried, is Pam Bondi, is Donald Trump, are they launching an investigation, particularly this one against Democrats, to use it as a way to stop the release of the files and of this bill? And that is a critical concern.
Of course there.
What has not been discussed in the last few days, and we've been focused on this bill, I want to remind the Attorney General and the public that our subpoena does not have that language. And so if the Attorney General wants to use her sham investigation in the Southern District of New York to withhold evidence and documents on the bill that the president will hopefully just about to sign, she can't do the same for our subpoena. She is still legally obligated, regardless of any investigation, to produce every single document, photo, video, or material that she has in her possession of the DOJ to the Oversight Committee. That's something that we have not talked about a lot in the last few days because our focus is on this bill. But you can believe that in the next few days and weeks ahead, we're going to remind the DOJ that her investigation she might try to use to stop the effort in the full House, she can't use that to stop the effort we have in the Oversight Committee.
So there you go. She can stop the release with the sham investigation via the bill, but she can't stop the Oversight Committee. I mean, it's all this right here, guys. This is the thing that everybody's talking about. It comes down to this, that the Epstein files are worse than Michael Wolff's description of Epstein photos showing Trump with half-naked teenagers. So that's it. That's the scuttlebutt. That's what provoked everybody 427-1. And the unanimous consent in the Senate is Pam Bondi refusing to answer Senator Whitehouse's question about the Michael Wolff photos. And then they started hearing rumors that not only is it the Michael Wolff photos, but man, way worse than that. And so they're like, they realized they all had to sign on. They all had to sign on or they were going to have no career afterwards. Everybody jumped on this. And now they're going to get it. They're going to go after all this shit. But I don't think it's going to be easy. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.